Callie. Welcome to the Inspo Talks. I'm excited to have you, a UC Davis vet student, with us today, and where we'll dive into how to get involved with vet school, school life balance, and knowing or not knowing what type of veterinary medicine you want to pursue in the future. So tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thanks for having me. So I graduated from UC Davis in 2021 with a bachelor's in animal science, and then I went straight into vet school here at UC Davis as well. Currently, I'm a third-year student, just finishing up my third year, and I'm about to start my year of clinical rotation, so that's exciting.
Yep.
And then after graduation in 2025, I hope to work as a dog and cat general practitioner in Southern California. So
that's very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So let's dive right into it.
Sure.
And when we're talking about the vet school involvement and experiences, what did you do as an undergrad here at UC Davis in the Animal Science Department program that you believe made you so successful as a current UC Davis vet student?
Yeah, so I have always had the idea of doing kind of like less number of things, but being really involved in just a few of them. Mm-hmm. It's kind of what has worked best for me. So I only did a couple things, but I did them for like the whole time in undergrad. Mm-hmm. So one of my like most formative like Davis experiences specifically was doing research. I started out doing research in the animal science department during my freshman year in the animal behavior and cognition lab. Looked at lots of hours of videos of pigs, which was very exciting. But that kind of got me interested in research. So after that project was over, I decided to look for more opportunities. And specifically, I wanted to do research at the vet school. And I ended up in an equine genetics lab, Dr. Carrie Finno's equine genetics lab. And I was there from the beginning of my second year of undergrad all the way through graduation, and actually went back and did research with her in vet school as well, which I can talk about later if we want. But so that was a really great experience, and I was able to publish a paper, learn about research, get kind of my foot in the door at the vet school as well, get to know some professors, some vet students, grad students. So it was a really great experience, and I think it helped me a lot in multiple different ways, like in terms of professionalism, like learning how to read research papers, a little bit about vet med, and kind of seeing what it's like over there. So that was one major experience that I did. My other one was actually not at Davis, but over the summers back down in Southern California where I'm from and where my parents are. I worked as a veterinary technician right after I finished high school. So the summer, well, I was a kennel attendant first, so you always got to start somewhere, cleaning kennels all summer. And then I went back and was able to kind of work my way up to veterinary technician. So I did that every summer, which was a really great experience. I think it's really important if you want to go to vet school to see if you actually like working in the field, because it can be a lot different than just playing with puppies and kittens all day, which I'm sure everybody listening knows.
Yes, that's true.
But it was a really valuable experience to work there. And I personally liked working at the same place, being able to show that I, was able to learn a lot of skills and work well with the team going back each year. And that was also one of the letters of recommendation that I got from a veterinarian. So very valuable experience. I also went back there last summer to do an internship as a vet student. So those connections are really valuable, and that's why I like to kind of do the same thing. But I think it can be different for everybody. I also don't like being the new person in situations, so that was kind of I'm just going to go back to the same place. But I lucked out, and it was a great place to work. So those were kind of my two main experiences. I did some other student organizations work as well, some more like leadership, not vet related, which I think are also really great opportunities to do non-academic things as well.
And you mentioned about connections and connecting back to people, even though you finished with them a couple months before starting vet school. How do you value the networking skills that you currently have, and how does this keep helping you grow as a vet student and in the future as a veterinarian?
The veterinary profession is small, and people know everybody. So
that's true. Yeah.
I think it's really important to keep those connections. Don't burn bridges. Just be really professional and, a really hard worker at every experience that you do. And then they can help you a long way down the road as well. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And then my second question would be, how are you able to get involved with and become the VP of SAVMA, treasurer of the Veterinary Business Management Association, a tour guide for the Vet Med campus, and so many other things that you do in your busy schedule? So how are you able to fit all of this in your vet school life?
Yeah, so it sounds like a lot, but it's actually not. And I think I've enjoyed all the experiences, and they're all conducive to being a vet student. I would also like to mention, before I get into my experiences, that becoming involved like at school in terms of leadership positions and having multiple leadership positions is also not the thing that everybody enjoys doing or is the right thing for everybody. There's nobody saying you have to get involved in these things, but personally I think it really enriches my vet school life. Again, makes more connections. Yeah. I can see other students from other class years. I can help make changes that I want to see in the vet school. So there were a lot of reasons why I joined those. Again, it sounds like a lot, but in reality, I'm like, there's 3 major things that I really committed to. I feel like a lot of people don't realize that they're all time commitments for those. All those positions have been years, like throughout my whole vet school experience. So they're commitments, but they are like really valuable as well. So my 2 major like leadership positions were vice president of SAVMA and then the treasurer of the BBMA. Vice president of SAVMA, actually, I have a funny story of how
Let's hear it.
of how I got that.
Yeah.
For some background, we have small groups in our start for orientation, and then we are in the same small group through the whole first year of vet school. So lovely friend from my small group, she nominated everybody in our small group for a position of some sort.
That's very sweet.
So she nominated me for vice president. She's like the sweetest person ever. And she like, it honestly was like nominating people just because she thought they could do it.
Shout out to her.
Shout out to Jenny.
Yes.
But so I wasn't planning on doing it. Anyways, she nominated me, and I was like, I'm just going to fill out like the form just because, like, I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to be doing this. I don't know.
Yeah, why not?
And little did I know, I then got elected to it.
That's crazy.
So I was like, oh, okay, I'm doing this now. So for those who don't know what SAVMA is, it's kind of like the student government of vet school. Yep. We organize clubs and just like some logistics and some scholarships and professional development funds and things like that. So nothing too major. A lot of people don't really even know that it exists, but we're kind of behind the scenes. But yeah, so that's how I got into being to SAVMA.
Yeah.
Veterinary Business Management Association treasurer, I did apply for.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
And I just met a couple of people in the first few weeks of school who I really clicked with, and I just wanted to join their organization. And the VBMA is one of the biggest clubs on our campus.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we have a lot of members. We have a ton of lunch talks, which is a major plus to vet schools. You get a lot of free food. But I just really want to become involved with it. We learn about all different things that we don't learn in class. So business, personal finance, personal wellness, like how to buy a practice if you're interested in that.
Important.
Would never know that, how to do that otherwise. Not that I really know how to do that. But, yeah, you know, they get some basic business information.
Also, like, fighting for your salary, I heard.
Yeah. How to negotiate, how to look at contracts and things like that. But, yeah, so that I applied for, and it's a great way to make connections. We invite whatever industry leader we want to have come talk to our vet school, we can reach out to personally. So that's a great way to make connections as well. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Those are my 2 kind of major commitments. Yeah, and then in the fall I'll be an orientation leader. So if anybody's listening and you're going to start vet school in the fall, you'll see me. Yeah, it'll be fun. But a lot of fun things. Just adding to the fun, of vet school.
And for me, especially when I'm also involved in so many things on campus as well, I feel like those opportunities is kind of relaxing for me, especially studying all day. Do you think that's the same for you? Do you think that having a lot of commitments is also pretty relaxing for your, like, school life?
Yeah, I'd say there are times when the commitments require more, like if we're planning an event or something. Yeah. We're all vet students, so we all don't want to be on campus for 12 hours a day. So everybody understands that, and all the organizations are, run by vet students. So we're all in the same boat. So if we have a big exam or something, they plan around that. And a lot of other things. So just like undergrad clubs that are all student run.
Same thing.
You don't do things during finals week, things like that. So it's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now talking about school life balance, like you were just mentioning before, do you have any tips and tricks for maintaining this type of schedule?
Yeah. Vet school it's definitely taken some getting used to.
Yeah.
I've
heard.
It's different than undergrad in terms of it's a lot of independent study on top of a lot of hours in class.
Oh, interesting.
So our typical day is 3 or 4 hours of lectures in the morning, lunch break, 3 or 4 hours of discussion or labs in the afternoon. So it's a long day. And then you have to go home and study those 5 or 6 lectures that you have to catch up on. Sometimes we have 15, 20 lectures in a week. So
oh my gosh.
yeah, so it's a lot to catch
crazy.
up on. But you get in the groove. I think it's about, doing a little bit every day.
Yeah.
It can really catch up. I think it's the same for undergrad,
the
too.
Same thing, yeah. If you fall behind, it's really hard, especially in a quarter system, as you know. Do you think a quarter system has helped you in vet school because of the fast-paced curriculum?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think in vet school, we're on the block system, so we might have like an 8 to 10 week block of, say, cardiology. So it is similar to the quarter system where, you have an exam every couple weeks or something. Sometimes we even have exams every week. So you really have to stay on top of it. So I think it did help. But yeah, it's just about doing a little bit every day. But, you still have time where you can go to dinner on the weekends or hang out with friends. And so, yeah.
So you do have that balance.
I had a vet who I worked with tell me that vet school was so much more fun than undergrad.
Really?
Just in terms of like your friends and
that's true.
Like you're like really an adult, so you can really do whatever you want. And I think it's true. At least for me. I also had 2 years of undergrad during COVID, so I think I might be a little biased. I was at home for a lot of it, but it's a lot of fun, and it's you really get to know your classmates.
Awesome. Yeah. So as you mentioned before, after graduation, you do want to become a small animal clinician, and basically in Southern California, right? So why is this the path that you want to pursue? Yeah.
So I actually didn't know really what I wanted to do. There's so many specialties. There's so many there's even non-practicing veterinarians who work in industry. You can you can be a pathologist. You can work for these big corporate companies.
There's so many options.
So many options that I didn't know about. And then when you start vet school, you're like, oh my gosh, there's more options than I even thought. But kind of my first interest was general practice, just because that's what I've had experience in. But then I found out that I'm kind of interested in a lot of different things. And I can't quite choose just one.
Yeah.
Specifically, I really like surgery, kind of the internal medicine side of things. I also like neurology, cardio. So it's like everything. I don't think I could choose just one and do that for the rest of your time.
Yeah.
And I also want to do surgery as well. Not necessarily go through a whole internship and residency for surgery, but I want to be able to do that too. So that's why I chose general practice.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people say, like, just general practice, that it's kind of, the not easy way out, but it's
I've heard
kind
that
of
before,
like settling for just doing general practice.
Yeah.
But I don't see it that way. Cardiology cases, but I'm not a cardiologist or something to that effect. Like, I think it's really awesome to be able to see everything, and also have that long like relationship with clients and their pets as well. I really like that aspect of it as well. Not just see them once and then they go back to their general practitioner. So
you grow up with them, basically. You see them grow over time.
Seeing a little puppy grow into an adult.
That's cute.
So cute. But yeah, so I really like the relationships, and then I like being able to do everything.
So my final question that I always ask my guest speakers, what would you tell your younger self if you can go back in time, and why?
I would tell myself probably to not worry so much about what other people are doing, like my classmates are doing, in terms of studying or how much you're studying or how you're studying. I tried out a lot of things in the first year of vet school, like group studying or like flashcards.
Yeah.
I am not a group studier. Every time I went to a group study session, I would just like sit there and be like, oh my gosh, I'm like trying to catch up or like think about something else, or like I'm still trying to figure out the last thing we were talking about. So I figured out that was not for me. Flashcards, also not for me. But I feel like there's this sense of like, oh, everybody's doing this. I should probably do that too.
Okay.
And like ways to study and stuff. So I would say probably just like do your own thing, do what works for you, and if it happens to be what everybody else is doing, that's great. But if not, that's fine.
It's been great having you today, Callie, and thank you so much for sharing with my audience about your life and how you got into vet school and what you're involved in, and I hope the best in your future endeavors. And for the audience, thank you for watching and hope to see you again on Vet Inspo Talks. Have a good one!